Hi, in this session I will be discussing an important customizing topic in SAP Warehouse Management. It is interface between inventory management and warehouse management. As we know, warehouse management in SAP R3 is very closely linked to inventory management, which is a function of materials management. So in this session, we will be discussing how warehouse management and inventory management combine and how you can influence the way they interact. So we will be touching these topics. We will be discussing movement types, transfer order creation. We will see how we can influence the immediate transfer order creation and an automatic transfer order creation. We will also see special movement indicators. So what are movement types? As we know, in inventory management, movement type plays a central role as the instrument for controlling goods receipt, goods issue, and posting change activities. Warehouse management also has movement type which, similar to their counterparts in inventory management, control the process flow in the warehouse. In particular, it influences the selection of interim storage area. So each movement type in inventory management will have a movement type corresponding in the warehouse. So we have to customize the warehouse movement types to match and influence the process that we are going to do in the warehouse, which we will be doing in customizing. When we assign plant storage location in IM to warehouse number in the warehouse management system, the total stock balance between IM and WM remains the same. When you post GR or GI, that result in change of stock quantity in the system. So when you have a warehouse management system coupled to an inventory management system, two postings are normally required to complete one process. The first posting is in IM and the other one is in WM. So this is how an IM movement type is connected to a WM movement type. So we have an inventory management movement type which is linked to a reference movement type, which is further linked to a warehouse movement type. We will see how this happens in the system, but it is important to understand that there is a concept called a reference movement type in WM. Let us understand interim storage areas and interim storage bin once again. So every inventory management posting that is done in a WM managed storage location generates at least one quant in an interim storage area. We have seen in our previous exercises that whenever we do a goods receipt, we will be generating one quant in the interim storage area first, which is later on moved ahead and put away in the respective bins. In many cases, the interim storage areas represent spatial areas like the goods receipt area or a goods issue area. An interim storage area can, however, also be a virtual unit. For example, an interim storage area for posting change activities that do not involve a stock transfer. So whenever there is a post change activity taking place, the goods would momentarily go into an interim storage area and come back to the same bin. So this kind of an interim storage area does not really exist, but it is there as a virtual storage area for system's sake. Typically for posting changes, we will be using an interim storage area 922, which is a standard interim storage area designated by SAP. So what you see on the screen is a setting that you would typically see when you open the movement type customizing for a warehouse. So you have a warehouse number on the top and you have the movement type. for goods receipt area 101. So the source bin is defined in this place, which is the 902 in our case. For an external goods receipt PO, it would be 902, and we specify whether it is a dynamic bin or a fixed bin. So when you copy standard SAP warehouse from 001, you would get all the standard settings recommended by SAP. So this is one of the standard settings recommended by SAP. For a movement type 101, the source storage type, the dynamic bin is adopted from the preceding document that triggers the movement type. Let us once again have a look at these details in the SAP system. We will do a simple goods receipt for a purchase order. We will display the transfer requirement that was created for a goods receipt, and then check the WM movement type that determines the subsequent process. We will also display the table in which the inventory management movement types are assigned to the reference movement type. So this is actually a part of customizing, which we will be seeing in the system right now. So let us create a purchase order for material 200120, quantity 25, in a storage location that is WM managed. So I have created a purchase order. This time, before we actually do a goods receipt, let us once again see the stock of the material in the system. I'm using the T code MMBE to see the stock. So right now we have 190 in stock, and let us see at a WM level also we have 190 in stock. So the IM and the WM stock are in sync. Let us proceed with the goods receipt. While doing a goods receipt of material in a warehouse managed storage location, we will see this additional WM tab, which gives us the warehouse related details. I check the item. All okay. I post it. Once the document is posted, we can display the document and see the details of the warehouse related documents. So we have a transfer requirement number 14 that is created. The interim storage type is selected as 902. We will see how this exactly happens in the system. We once again see the stock status now. At IM level, the stock is increased by 25, and at a WM level, you can see the stock in the interim storage area 902. So we need to proceed with the documents that are created for the warehouse and convert them into a transfer order. So just to show you how we go in IDES, we go to logistics execution, inbound process, goods receipt for purchase order, other transactions, put away, create transfer order. There are several ways of creating a transfer order. We have transactions for material document. We can create it for a transfer requirement. So what we do here is select LB11. If you know the transfer requirement, you can go with LB13. Any which ways is okay. At this time, let us see. We know the material. We know the warehouse. So we can see the transfer requirement 14 is picked, and we can process it in the foreground. We can use the icon to put away in the foreground if you want to see how the bin is being picked, or we can create it in the background. So the system has selected a bin. From the destination bin 902, the material is being put away in destination bin in storage type 001. I hit enter. Post the transfer order. Now the transfer order is created. Now I can see the stock once again. I will see the warehouse stock. Now, due to the creation of transfer order, the stock has moved from 902 available stock to pick quantity 25 in 902 and put away quantity 25 in 001. So this stock is midway because the transfer order is just created. Once we confirm the transfer order, the stock will be seen as available stock. So let us confirm the transfer order. We have the transfer order that is being picked by the system. This is the transfer order. I post it. Transfer order confirmed. Now I will directly see the WM stock using transaction LS26. I can see that the pick quantity and the put away quantity has disappeared, and we have the total stock. Let us now check in SPRO how this interface is set up and how the movement type in IM influences the further processes in WM. So we go to SPRO. Logistics execution, warehouse management, activities, transfers, define movement types. So this is the place where we define the WM movement types. So let us take the example of warehouse 001, which is our warehouse, and the movement type 101. So whenever this movement type happens or is triggered, what all can be customized. So this is the warehouse, this is the movement type, and this is the source storage type and the source storage bin. This needs to be specified when we are creating the movement type. The direction of the stock, whether it is going in the warehouse or coming out of the warehouse, is specified at this place. So whenever it is an inbound, the source would be interim storage type and the bin that you would define over here. If you want to specify a dynamic bin, that is, you would want to have the system to pick up the bin as the document number, then you can specify the dynamic bin by ticking this and removing this bin, deleting this bin from here. Next, if you want to have the transfer order that is created for this movement type be immediately confirmed, then you can do so by having this checkbox ticked. If you would want to go for an automatic transfer order confirmation, you can use this checkbox to do the relevant setting to confirm the transfer orders with a batch job. So for automatic confirmation, we are using a batch job to confirm all the transfer orders that are created. Let us now see the next part of the interface between the IM and WM. So this is the warehouse movement type, and with the various controls it has. We will now see the next part, which is the interface part. We go to interface, go to inventory management, define movement types. Here we have something called as a reference movement type, and then we have the movement type that is going to influence the documents that we create in the warehouse. So what are reference movement types? So at an IM level, there are many transactions that would result in the same process in the warehouse. So for example, you are doing a standard goods receipt. You would be doing a put away for the standard goods receipt. But if you have a customer return, you would also be doing a put away for that kind of a material that is coming in the warehouse. So these kind of movement types are clubbed in the warehouse, and they are given a reference movement type. So we typically do not disturb what is standard over here, which is offered by SAP. SAP has clubbed all the movement types and given relevant reference movement types. So these are the IM movement types, and these are the reference movement types. These reference movement types are further taken up here. And then we can customize the way we want. So under the warehouse column, when we see a star star star, it means that this particular setting applies to all the warehouses that you define in this client and with these settings. But if you want something specific to your warehouse, then you can always copy that particular movement type and then change the star 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 to your own warehouse. So at this time, what we see is a 101 with a TR creation specified, and for this TR we are manually creating the warehouse document, the transfer order, sorry. So in case you want the system to create the transfer order document automatically, you can specify it here. So if you specify A, the transfer order would be created automatically or immediately, to be more correct. If you specify X, it is going to call up the transaction. After Amigo, it is going to call up the transaction for transfer order creation. So let us customize this for our warehouse. We copy this and I specify this as AA. Sorry. 001 for my warehouse. This is for the purchase order. So we have to spot the correct combination that we would want to use. And I would want to call up the transaction for transfer order creation. Sorry, we need to select X. So selecting an X will call up the transaction for TO creation for material documents. What this means that once we post the goods receipt, the system would propose a subsequent screen which will be the transfer order creation screen. So once I save this, we will check in the system. How does the system behave now? I have a purchase order created. I am about to post the goods receipt for this purchase order. This is for quantity 10. You can see the relevant data is in place. I check it and I post it. So once I post it, the system should automatically now take me to the transfer order creation screen from material document. So I post this. So there we are, create transfer order for material document. So this is how it could be automated. If you want the transfer order to be created in the background itself, you could choose the setup as A. For example, if you select A, it would directly create a transfer order in the background. You can also automate it to confirm the transfer order in the background by going to the movement type setting that we just saw. So let us proceed with the transfer order creation. I hit enter and it has gone to the transfer order creation. I generate transfer order item. So it is processed. The transfer order is done. So in this particular screen, you are not able to see the actual pickup of the bins. But if you want to see that, you can choose palletization, which would take you to through the process. They selected the bins. I can post it. So the transfer order is created and we can have a look at the stock. Using LS26, you will see the stock is midway for picking and put away. So if I confirm the transfer order using LT12, you can now see that the stock, once refreshed, is in the available stock status. A quick note on the config that you do here. If you want to create a transfer requirement for a particular document, for a particular movement type, it is set up over here. Or if you need a post change notification, then we have this checkbox here. But it is important to note that either this or this needs to be maintained, because SAP needs either the transfer requirement or the post chain notification document to be created for a transfer order. Transfer order has to have one of these preceding documents. So let us see. Which movement type have the PCN ticked. So you can see for a movement type in 309 we have a PCN. So basically 309 is used when there is a change of material. So this does not have a change in the bin, but just the stock status change. There are many other movement types that also will be using a post change notification. So let us quickly summarize the customizing part that we saw in this session. We saw the creation of transfer requirements and transfer orders based on the movement types that are getting picked up due to the documents that are being posted. So we can have a transfer requirement or a post change notification, and we can create a transfer order based on these documents. So we just saw the transfer requirement creation, and we saw the transfer order creation in the background, or no transfer order creation, and there is also possibility of initiating the transfer order creation. The system takes us to the screen and initiates a transfer order creation. We saw the movement type configuration. The reference movement type provides the following information. So the movement type for WM is provided by reference movement type, the stock category for the quants created by the movement type, indicator controlling the creation of transfer requirements and post change notice. W movement type provides the following information that is needed to move stock in or out of the warehouse. The W movement type that we saw, it provides the interim storage area. So this interim storage area tells us actually if the stock is coming in the warehouse or going out of the warehouse. The type of interim storage bin, which if it is a predefined, a dynamic, or a fixed storage bin, the control indicators for processing, confirming, and printing transfer order, and the indicator for finding the storage type in the warehouse. For example, WM movement type 101, which is a goods receipt for purchase order, has the following characteristics and handles good movement as follows. So since the goods are being transferred from the interim storage area, the source storage type, as we saw, is an interim storage area. In the standard system, it is defined as 902, and we typically do not change this. We keep it as is. The dynamic coordinates indicator is set. This means that the system creates the interim storage bin coordinate using the same number of the document that triggered the move, in this case the purchase order number. So if you select the dynamic coordinate number, it would pick the document number that triggered the movement type. In our case, we had changed it to of name. The document that is used to create the dynamic storage bin coordinates is defined in the requirement type field as B, purchase order. This means that the system uses the purchase order number to build the coordinates. So just to recapture, we define the movement types here, and this is the screenshot of the movement type. This is the confirmation tab, wherein if we select, if we want an immediate transfer order confirmation, we would select this checkbox. And if we want an automatic transfer order processing, which is processed using a batch job, then we make the selection over here. So there is a difference between automatic transfer order confirmation and an immediate transfer order confirmation. In the above example, the system uses the reference movement type 101 to access the table in which the reference movement type is assigned to a WM movement type. So we go to the interface node to define the reference movement type and the assignment of the reference movement type to the WM movement. So in the top half, we see assignment of WM movement references to IM movement type, and the next node is assignment of the reference movement type to the WM movement types.